In the United States, 50 million people don't know where the next meal is coming from. Here is a story from Professor O'Donnell, who is actively involved in helping to change food hunger.
Yeah, my name's Tom O'Donnell, and I'm a professor here at Cabrini University, and I teach classes on food insecurity and hunger. And I also work at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency in Philadelphia, and I work in a program they call the Food Recovery Challenge. And as a result of that, I would say for the past roughly 5 years, I've gotten pretty knowledgeable about hunger and issues of food insecurity and ways that we can, as a community, where I and you can help with that particular problem in society and try to promote social justice. So I would say I spend this topic of food insecurity and hunger is not only a avocation, where I personally am trying to do what I can, but it's also a vocation for me. And so the way things stand now, it looks like I'm going to just continue working in this, what I call this area or this space, for the rest of my career, which is starting to sunset right now. I'm up in years a little bit, but there's no end to when you can try to help with this particular problem and help alleviate it. So I got into, when I started working at the EPA, I found myself in a situation where I could join their voluntary program, the Food Recovery Challenge, and I started to begin to meet people that were in the hunger relief environment, community, so to speak. For example, Philabundance, which is the largest hunger relief organization in this Philadelphia area, the whole Delaware Valley, lower Delaware Valley. And they serve, thousands and thousands of meals a day. And as a result of my connections with the EPA and meeting those folks, I started to have opportunities to interact with people that could actually make a difference on hunger in that situation. And I also found out, because EPA is an environmental agency, that there was a lot of wasted food in the United States. I mean, a phenomenal amount of wasted food in the United States, also in the world. But as a result of EPA's interest in the environment, and the fact that most of the food that's wasted in this country ends up in a landfill. So food gets thrown out, much of it's still edible, good, gets put into a landfill, fills up landfill space, and it also creates methane, which is a very powerful greenhouse gas. So we're in a situation in the United States where roughly, this is going to sound like a pretty shocking number, but it's about 70 billion pounds of food every year is thrown away in landfills in the United States.
When asked what are some things that can cause food insecurity, Mr. O'Donnell says,
The definition of food insecurity. So the way I like to think about it is a person's food insecure if they don't have access to nutritious food that they can afford. It's really those three things. They have to have access, be able to get to it. It's got to be accessible to them. It's got to be good food, and they got to be able to afford it. So with that definition, and we have currently in the United States, there's about 42 million people that are food insecure. It's actually gotten a little better in the last year because the unemployment rate has dropped a little bit and wages are going up a little bit. But there's still well over 40 million people in the United States that are food insecure. And a lot of them are kids.
regarding negative situations that majority affect people, Mr. O'Donnell stated,
And that relates to SNAP benefits, which we call a lot of times food stamps, although they're not food stamp, but it's the same thing. There's some bills, legislation pending in Congress through the Farm Bill that are proposing to cut SNAP benefits potentially dramatically. And think of it this way: for every dollar of SNAP benefits that's reduced, that's a dollar that's going to be taken out of basically the mouths of somebody that's hungry. So it's really important to keep your ears tuned to that if you're interested in this subject, and all your friends what I've been doing is, and I will do on this, I've been doing on other issues, I'll do it on this very specific issue, is I'll write to my congressman because he's sensitive to this, and I'm going to inform him how many food insecure people there are in his congressional district, and that those people cannot afford to be without SNAP benefits, and hence I'm personally am very much opposed to any reduction in SNAP benefits because it has a direct negative impact on hunger in our communities. I wanted to get